let's talk about unexpected change. It hits all of us at some point. A layoff, an illness, a relationship that just ends. It can really feel like your world is shrinking. But what if there's another way to look at it? Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful way to handle life's curveballs, and it's all inspired by the story of cognitive scientist Maya Shankar. My dream was over. Just imagine feeling that at only 15 years old. That one sentence just captures total devastation, right? A future you've planned your whole life for, just gone. So who said this, and what happened?
Well, that was Maya Shankar. See, from the time she was 4, the violin was everything. She was studying at Juilliard, and her hero, Itzhak Perlman, even invited her to be his private student. She was set. She was going to be a concert violinist. And then, one morning, while she was practicing, she just heard a pop. A single finger overextended, and it permanently damaged the tendons in her hand. And just like that, the dream was gone.
Maya's story is pretty dramatic for sure, but that core experience, that's universal. We all face changes we never would have chosen for ourselves, and it is so easy to just focus on what we've lost, to feel completely boxed in. But what if that very same change could also spark a change inside of us? What if instead of making our lives smaller, it could actually make them bigger?
So why is change just so terrifying? Well, it turns out our brains are basically hardwired to hate, and I mean hate uncertainty. And there's this fascinating study that shows just how deep this feeling goes.
Okay, get this. Researchers found that people feel more stressed when they're told they have a 50-50 shot of getting an electric shock than when they're told they have a 100% chance of getting one. Isn't that wild? We would literally rather be certain something bad is going to happen than live with the stress of not knowing. That's how much our brains despise uncertainty.
And that's really the heart of it. We see change as a loss, as a step away from what we know. And when it's a change we didn't ask for, it's only natural to feel like our life is contracting. But here's what we miss. When something changes on the outside, it can also kick off this huge change on the inside. We literally become different people on the other side of it.
So how do we actually tap into that potential for growth? Well, it all starts by asking different kinds of questions. We're going to walk through this 3-step framework that's all about paying attention to those internal shifts and figuring out what you might actually gain, even when you feel like you've lost so much. So let's jump into the first question.
Our first question is all about what we're capable of, and it's inspired by the incredible story of a woman named Kristen Ha. When she was 24, Kristen was an aspiring cook, and then a rare autoimmune disease left her completely blind.
In the beginning, even the simplest things felt impossible. The absolute worst day was when she was trying to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. She couldn't get the bread lined up, jelly was getting everywhere, and in this moment of just total defeat, she threw the whole thing in the trash, completely overwhelmed by this limited future she saw for herself.
But here's the thing, she lived alone, so she had no choice but to keep trying. And this forced her to face our very first question. How might this change what you're capable of? We have this tendency to think of ourselves as fixed, But a brand new challenge forces us to adapt and grow in ways we just can't predict.
Christine started to realize that cooking was way more multisensory than she ever knew. She couldn't see the garlic browning anymore, but she could smell it, she could hear that sizzle in the pan. And this new approach didn't just help her get by, it completely unlocked her passion. She ended up becoming the first blind contestant on MasterChef, and then she won the whole competition. Today, she owns 3 restaurants, and for fun, she snowboards and rock climbs. She actually told Maya Shankar that if she had the choice, she wouldn't even want her vision back.
Okay, so let's move on to our second question. This one is all about our values. And for this, we're going to look at the story of a science journalist named Florence Williams. After 25 years of marriage, she found out her husband was in love with someone else, and her entire world just fell apart.
Now, Florence is a problem solver. It's just who she is. So she treated her heartbreak like it was a puzzle she had to solve. She made this super systematic, year-long plan to fix herself. We're talking wilderness trips, experimental therapies, the whole 9 yards. But at the end of that year, nothing. Nothing had worked. She was still completely heartbroken. And that failure forced her to consider a totally new way of thinking and to ask our second question. How might this change what you value? Maybe, just maybe, a broken heart wasn't a problem to be solved. Maybe getting closure wasn't even the point. So there's this psychological idea called cognitive closure.
It's basically our deep desire for clear, simple, definitive answers. And Florence had valued that her whole life. But when she finally let go of that need, her ability to feel joy and see beauty just expanded. She started to find this delight in the unknown, seeing her life not as a puzzle to be solved, but as a path of discovery.
All right, this brings us to our third and final question, which is all about identity. And for this one, we're coming full circle, right back to Maya Schenker's own story with her violin.
When Maya lost the ability to play the violin, she wasn't just grieving an instrument, she was grieving herself. For her whole life, her identity was Maya, the violinist. And without that, she had no idea who she was. This feeling actually has a name. It's called identity paralysis. It's that feeling of being completely and utterly stuck when a core piece of who you are gets taken away.
And that whole experience led her to this third question, which honestly might be the most profound one of all. How might this change how you define yourself? This question really pushes us to look deeper, underneath our job titles and our accomplishments, to find something much more stable to anchor ourselves to.
And here's the huge shift she made. She realized what she truly missed about playing the violin wasn't the instrument. It was the why behind it, that feeling of connecting with other people on an emotional level. So she shifted her identity. Instead of anchoring it to what she did, a violinist, a cognitive scientist, she anchored it to why she did things, a deep love for human connection and understanding. And that why is portable. You can take it with you and express it in a million different ways.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. When you anchor your identity to your why, to your core motivations, you build a foundation that no single change can ever take away from you. It becomes this incredible source of resilience. And this isn't just a nice idea. Maya is actually using this framework right now.
She's been really open about the fact that she's always wanted to be a mom, but she's faced pregnancy losses and a lot of other heartbreak. It's this ongoing, painful, uncertain journey. But she's using these exact same 3 questions to get through it, asking how this challenge might change what she's capable of, what she values, and how she ultimately defines herself. It's allowing her to loosen that tight grip on the single identity of mom and start to see a future with a lot more possibility.
So, I'll leave you with this. Unexpected change, it comes for all of us. And when it does, it is so easy to focus only on what's been taken away. But if we can somehow stay open to how we might be changing on the inside, we can find real power in that process. So the question to ask yourself is, where can your change expand you?